So we're actually going to dive into the AP Top 25. And you know what? I'm going to go 1 through 10. I'm just going to start poking. Actually, let's go 10 to 1, Victoria.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go 10 to 1.
Build up the suspense.
And I'm going to poke holes in every single one of these teams, with
like
the exception
Swiss
of
cheese.
one. Number 10 is Florida State. Now, I understand their season. They got a chip on their shoulder after being screwed out of the college football playoff last year. They should have been in that top 25. They should have been in the top 4. They should have been there 100%.
Yes.
We all know that. I've stated it. I know Adam has said it as much.
Everyone knows it.
So they got chip on their shoulder, which absolutely they should do, and they should ride that as much as possible. They lost a ton on offense. Jordan Travis, quarterback, gone. Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, wide receivers, gone. Trey Benson, running back, gone. All NFL or graduated. Guys like Jared Verse on defense, their edge rusher, top 15 pick. Or right around 15. But nonetheless, he's the first edge rusher off the board. He's the first round draft pick. All gone. Now, DJ Uiagalelei, the quarterback, back in the ACC, spent 2 years at Clemson, went to Oregon State, was there for a couple years. There's no more Pac-12. He comes back to the ACC. They play in about 11 days. I'm sure I'm going to get corrected if I'm wrong on that because I know it's August 24th.
Yeah, you will.
About 11 days. Next Saturday, the 24th, they're in Dublin. They play Georgia Tech. Now, chance to slip up in that one. Legit chance to slip it up in that one. I'm sure a lot of UNC fans remember going down to Georgia Tech last year after you lost the game against Virginia and they went down to Georgia Tech and they ran all over you. Chance to slip up, and if you do slip up, a long season for Florida State. They have to take care of business. I think it's also vital for the ACC that they take care of business. But yes, chip on the shoulder. We got a lot of new working pieces. But hey, your head coach, Mike Norvell, is back. Unlike number 9, Michigan. No more Harbaugh. He's in the NFL. J.J. McCarthy is in the NFL. As was the true focal point of their offense. Running back last year, Blake Corum. He's in the NFL. Oh, and they got caught cheating last year. And they no longer have that advantage because they got busted for it. Mm-hmm. They're a bunch of cheaters. Nah, get out of here. You're not making the CFP. Nor do you deserve it. So yeah, Michigan, great, cool. You won a championship last year. Cheaters, you're number 9 in the AP Top 25. Good luck this year. Let's go to number 8, Penn State. Let's just call it what it is. They can't beat ranked teams. Especially highly ranked ones. Under James Franklin, their head coach, 12-26 against AP ranked teams. 3-17 against teams ranked in the top 10. 3-17. I'm sorry. Am I supposed to get excited for Penn State football? Tell me why I should get excited for Penn State football. And then guess what? They're only 4-16 under James Franklin against Ohio State and Michigan. But hey, with the expanded college football playoff, maybe they'll backdoor their way into a CFP. Because everyone tells me how great Penn State is. I'm sorry, I don't see you beating anybody. You're just not. Again, 3-17 against top 10 teams under James Franklin. Okay, you're a good team. Congrats. I'm supposed to be excited for you? Number 7, Notre Dame. They had 3 starting offensive linemen that aren't back from last year. Joe Alt, first round pick. His replacement is hurt. It's supposed to be done for the year with a pec injury. Their starting center is now the starting center for NC State. And they got Riley Leonard coming in, former Duke quarterback, who necessarily, before he had the ankle and injuries and stuff, I know he had the ankle injury against Notre Dame and re-aggravated it, tried playing on it as the last couple games that he played in the year last year. Didn't necessarily light it up with his arm last year. I was at multiple Duke games last year. Crazy to think about it. I went to multiple Duke games last year, both in the press box and on the sideline. Clemson, Notre Dame. He mostly got it done with his legs. You only had against Duke and against when Duke played Notre Dame and Clemson. He had one touchdown pass in those two games. Now, he did have a massively big touchdown run against Clemson. But again, those two games, just one touchdown pass. Those are your two biggest tests. He had one touchdown pass against Lafayette. He had one against UConn. And he had one against Notre Dame. Now, he did have a couple rushing touchdowns against Northwestern. Had a rush TD against Clemson that I mentioned. And he also had another rushing touchdown against UConn. But Notre Dame lost a lot offensively. And Sam Hartman was a really good college quarterback. But somehow they're up 7 spots from where they finished last year. Somehow they're up 7. Oh, wait. I know why, Victoria. It's because that shiny gold helmet.
Right.
Notre Dame. It's the shiny gold helmet, which all of a sudden makes you just awesome, apparently. I'm not buying it yet when it comes to Notre Dame. I'm also not buying the number 6 team, Ole Miss. Their quarterback, Jackson Dart. Great name. Jackson Dart. Great name for a college quarterback.
Yeah, Dart.
Under Lane Kiffin.
Oh.
Under Lane Kiffin. 6 wins versus teams that are ranked in the top 25. 6. 6-25. So tell me why Ole Miss is special. Go ahead. I'll wait. Can't wait to see them up in Winston-Salem this coming season and lose to Wake Forest. That I'm looking forward to. That I'm looking forward to see Ole Miss come up to Wake Forest and get bounced. God, I want that to happen so badly. Number 5 on this list, Alabama. Jaden Milroe, their quarterback, he's back. Now, Alabama is a factory of turning out talent. We all know that. But there were even questions last year with Jaden Milroe about if he should get benched. And they were literally like a Hail Mary away from losing to Auburn and not even making the CFP last year. Granted, they never should have been in the college football playoff anyway. Should have been Florida State. I digress. Kalen DeBoer comes from Washington to take over for a legend in Nick Saban. Now, they got a couple easy games to start the year. They got Western Kentucky and South Florida. But September 14th, which is 1 month from tomorrow, by the way. I want to make sure I get my dates correct here, Victoria.
Make that clear, yes.
1 month from tomorrow, September 14th, they got to go to Wisconsin. They got to go to Madison. It's going to be a test. Now, Wisconsin isn't great. Wisconsin is good. They're not great. But if you don't win that one up in Madison, they might not let you off the plane in Tuscaloosa. There might be pitchforks and torches in Tuscaloosa. So, yeah, Kalen DeBoer, you built something great at Washington. But now you're going to Alabama. The standard's just different. I know you got to the college football playoff with Washington last year. It's just different at Alabama. The standard is just different there. Especially when you're replacing the guy. We've seen it here in North Carolina with guys like John Shire having to replace Coach K or Hubert Davis having to replace Roy Williams. It's hard to replace the guy. It took multiple coaches to get from Dean Smith to Roy Williams at UNC. So, yeah, it's just different there in Alabama. So, yeah, I think Alabama struggles a little bit this year, and they're going to have a lot of noise around that program, and not in a good way. Number 14, Texas. We made it to the college football playoff last year. Quinn Ewers is back. Their quarterback, who a lot of people thought if he came out in the draft could have been a first-round pick, but went back to college for another year. Likely is going to be one of the top QBs drafted this upcoming year. They do miss some skill guys. Xavier Worthy, who's playing for the Kansas City Chiefs now, first-round pick, who's all speed. You got Jonathan Brooks, who's now running back for the Carolina Panthers, which we'll hopefully see week 3 or 4, fingers crossed. But they're headed to the SEC. And granted, they did beat the team that's below them in Texas, or Texas beating Alabama, team below them. They also go on the road to the Big House this year. They go to Michigan, which I think is just kind of awesome for college football to see a big-name program like Texas in the Big House on the road and a big-name program like Michigan. Now, Michigan, for all the things I mentioned earlier, I got questions, major ones. But Texas, I think a little bit more justified there at number 4. The SEC is going to be a lot tougher competition than the Big 12 because Big 12 stinks. Number 3 is Oregon. Now, big question is, do they have a 6th-year, 29-year-old quarterback? Now, okay, Bo Nix was not 29 years old, but you know what I mean. He was a 6-year quarterback last year, played a ton of college football. No, they don't have that this year. Now, their schedule actually isn't that daunting, even though they're going from the Pac-12 to the Big 10. And we'll also look at last year. They were literally just a couple of plays away. They had a couple of one-possession losses to Washington. Those were only 2 losses last year. Team got to the national championship game. But nonetheless, their schedule isn't that daunting. They have a home game against Ohio State on October 12th, and they're at Michigan on November 2nd. Those are their only ranked opponents on their schedule. Now they got to go to Wisconsin. I mentioned Wisconsin being a tough game for Alabama just a little bit ago. Now Oregon's got to go to Wisconsin on November 16th. Won't be easy, but again, it's not daunting. So yeah, I see Oregon in the college football playoff. Simple as that. Because they have a team, like I just mentioned, who's number 2, Ohio State. Their starting quarterback last year, Kyle McCord, he's at Syracuse. Their best player is no longer there, in Marvin Harrison Jr. And for some reason, people want to question Ryan Day as a head coach, even though they've been, awesome. They've been great. Now, has the CFP success necessarily been there? Not necessarily, but they're getting there. And I remember, they lost in one possession game on the road at Michigan. One possession game on the road at Michigan with all their cheating. Michigan's got a massive turnover of their roster. Ohio State was knocking on the door last year. My big question is, again, you lost your best player in Marvin Harrison Jr., and you got to figure out who your quarterback's going to be, which I think they probably have an idea, but nonetheless, you still got to replace 2 of your key players. But Ohio State, yeah. Ohio State just turns the roster over. They got talent backing up talent there. And then number 1, it's hard to poke holes at Georgia. It really is. Carson Beck, their quarterback, is back. Kirby Smart hasn't lost a regular season game to a coach not named Nick Saban since 2019, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Nick Saban's now in the media.
Exactly. He's doing what we do.
Forgetting his badges and everything.
Right.
Just trying to walk up in there.
But nonetheless, Georgia. Yeah, they're my pick to win the CFP this year. Let's call them what it is.